Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the absolutely electric, relentless, and highly debated impact of Cristiano Ronaldo on world football. We're going entirely off the record here, looking at some of his most legendary moments on the pitch to understand exactly how he redefined what it means to be an athletic powerhouse. Because, we aren't just looking at the goals today. We're going to dive right into the anatomy of his gameplay, the sheer force of his will, and how his incredibly unique physical toolkit allowed him to just completely dominate the sport.
All right, let's just jump straight into the elephant in the room. The ultimate question that has completely dominated football fandom for well over a decade now. Just two names, but they literally represent a dividing line in modern sports history. Whenever Ronaldo's impact is brought up, this is the inevitable baseline of the conversation, right? You've got fans who will argue all day, every day that one is leaps and bounds better than the other. But hey, rather than taking a side today, we're actually going to look at how this very debate frames Ronaldo's totally unique identity as a player.
Because this debate, it perfectly captures two sides of a massive cultural conversation. On one hand, you have this widespread perception that, Messi is natural. And on the other, you have this stark contrast that's pointed out in our source material, Ronaldo is a trend product. So what does that actually mean? It means Ronaldo's dominance is so often viewed through this lens of meticulously crafted perfection. He's seen as the ultimate product of relentless training, right? Almost like a constructed physical phenomenon rather than just someone relying on purely innate talent. It highlights a fascinating psychological angle that Ronaldo literally willed his body and his playstyle into existence just to stay at the absolute pinnacle of the sport. Section 1. The greatest football debate. Now, to truly understand his impact, we have to look at the historical shadows he had to outrun. It wasn't just his contemporaries he was facing down. Early on, the guy was actually competing against ghosts of the past. There's a quote from a top coach in our source text that says, "I was coaching Ronaldo, not this one, the real one, the Brazilian." I mean, just imagine being a world-class athlete and constantly hearing that you aren't even the real version of your own name. He had to entirely redefine a legendary name through sheer force of will. He didn't just step into an empty spotlight, he had to carve out his very own legacy while people were still comparing him to a massive Brazilian footballing icon. And he used that. He used that as fuel to forge an entirely new type of player. Moving on to Part 2, Athleticism and Trend Definition. When you break down the anatomy of Ronaldo's gameplay, honestly, it reads like a cheat code. Like the source material notes, as soon as he takes his first touch, you pretty much know exactly what's going to happen. From twisting and turning away from defenders, literally leaving elite players like Steve Davis completely in his wake, to making these perfectly timed runs. You know the ones, where he just waits, and then steams in for a header with this absolute majestic hang time. And he isn't just fast, his pace is described as being completely on fire. It's a devastating arsenal, built entirely on unstoppable confidence and elite movement that just absolutely terrifies opposing defenses. And this relentless athleticism, it led to Champions League moments that were so breathtaking, they actually transcended normal team loyalties. When Ronaldo scores a screamer, it isn't just a goal, it's a full-on exhibition. Our sources describe moments of such absolute beauty on the pitch that even the opposing fans around the stadium were left standing and applauding the incredible sight. Think about that for a second. You have to be a truly generational talent to force your fiercest rivals to clap for you. It's that combination of raw power and undeniable style that forces everyone watching to acknowledge, hey, we are witnessing history unfold right now.
Which brings us to Section 3, the ultimate clutch performer.
Because here's the thing. Physical tools and beautiful goals, they're nothing without a clutch mentality, and the sheer drama of this defining match against Sweden proves exactly that. Picture this. A ticket to the World Cup finals is on the line, the pressure is literally at its absolute peak. The game starts to open up, and Ronaldo is immediately dangerous, setting the tone with this devastating initial touch. But then, plot twist, some shocking defending from the Portuguese allows Zlatan Ibrahimovic to score, giving Sweden a massive glimmer of hope. The momentum shifts entirely. One more goal would do it for the Swedes. So, how does Ronaldo respond to this massive roadblock? He just takes over. When the ball is on the edge of the penalty area, he breaks again. He scores a hat-trick to personally kill the Swedish dream. He wrote his name all over that tie, winning his personal battle and lifting Portugal to the World Cup almost single-handedly. The aftermath of that performance was pure, unadulterated shock. His movement, his first touch, and his extraordinary finishing completely broke the opposition's spirit. Our sources actually recount how the Swedish fans, and even the Swedish coach, were left physically shaking their heads on the sidelines. They literally could not believe what they were seeing. When you push a professional coach to the point of sheer disbelief like that,
it becomes universally clear. In world football, when he's in front of goal, this man is absolutely devastating.
And finally, Section 4, a devastating legacy. When we try to measure the sheer offensive power, the velocity of his gameplay is honestly sometimes hard to wrap your head around. The source text mentions a strike so powerful, so full of confidence, that he didn't just score, he hit the ball entirely through the net. Yeah, literally through it. Just think about the physics of that for a second. It's almost a perfect metaphor for his entire career, isn't it? He wasn't just playing within the boundaries of the game, he was out there breaking through the physical constraints of the equipment on the pitch. It perfectly encapsulates why he's viewed as such an unstoppable, devastating force.
So I'm going to leave you with this to ponder. Regardless of where you stand on the great debate of who is the absolute best, how can we truly measure the legacy of a player who continuously forced the football world to rewrite its history books? A player who took a legendary name and made it his own, who turned sheer athleticism and willpower into a literal art form, and who stepped up in the most suffocating, high-pressure moments to break the hearts of entire nations. It's a massive testament to the power of human athletic potential. Definitely something to think about the next time you see him line up for a free kick.